Hi, my name is Judy, and today I have a Summer Solstice Yin Yoga practice to offer to you. You are going to need just a couple of props, a bolster or a thick pillow, and a couple of blocks. And they're mostly optional, actually. And I'd like to begin with a very short meditation as I explain to you what the intention of this practice is. As always, you are completely free to use your own intention. In fact, I encourage that. So go ahead and sit down, maybe on that block like I am. Close your eyes down if that's comfortable for you. If not, have them a little bit open, gazing at the tip of your nose. The spine begins to elongate, back of the neck straightens. Shoulders fall away from the ears. Bring your hands up, palms face up. And for this meditation, we are going to touch our pinky finger to our thumb, then our ring finger, and then our middle finger, and finally our index finger. And we're going to repeat that during this meditation using the mantra Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. Sa, Ta, Na, Ma. You can say it out loud if you'd like. You can say it internally, whichever feels right to you. And this simply means this is who I truly am. So keep up with that mantra and those finger movements as I explain a little bit more about this practice. Summer is the fire season, literally and figuratively. In Ayurveda, it corresponds to the Pitta dosha. And the Pitta dosha is the fire and water element. Fire it transforms the food we eat, as well as the air and our thoughts, our emotions, what we read, what we see. It takes all of that and hopefully transforms it into more prana. Now fire, of course, if it gets out of hand, becomes a wildfire, and it just burns down everything in its path. And so we don't want to become that fiery. Now, Yin Yoga actually has its roots more in traditional Chinese medicine. It is a newer form of yoga. It's not thousands and thousands of years old. And it follows the meridians on the body, or it can follow the meridians on the body, the sort of meridians that your acupuncturist will work on, or if you are familiar with acupressure. This practice will stimulate your heart meridian. Your heart meridian starts in your chest, and it moves to your lungs, and it moves from there to your armpits, and then down your arms all the way to your little pinky finger. So anything that opens the heart, anything that opens our shoulders, moves our arms away from our body, our wrists, all of these things are stimulating our heart meridian. And that is actually only one path of the heart meridian, but that's the one I chose to concentrate on for this practice. So we are going to be opening your heart, and you are doing this meditation with this mantra, because in order to transform, fire transforms, you have to truly know yourself first. You have to know what you want deep down in your bones. And until you know what you want, transformation can be very difficult to achieve. Let me glance over at my notes. This practice will also help boost your immunity, because some of the movements we're doing when we are stretching out from our armpit, we have a lot of lymph nodes under our armpits. So anytime we stimulate and we move our arms, movement really helps move our lymph, and our lymphatic system is all about boosting our immunity. It's a really fascinating topic if you want to read up on it. Okay, so let that mantra and the finger positions go, and begin to blink your eyes open. Maybe put a smile on your face. Whatever you're sitting on, bring that over to the side and come into a tabletop position. We're going to start today with stretching our wrists, which we don't do enough in yoga. Get this a little out of the way. But it's important because we bear a lot of weight on our hands. So by stretching them, we are actually strengthening them. And we're also strengthening those bones because we are bearing our weight on our wrists. Begin to point your hands out to either side of your mat. The fingertips point out to either side of your mat. And just breathe here. And these are great, the next few stretches are great stretches to do before pretty much any yoga practice. And then go ahead and point your fingertips straight back towards your body so that the heel of your hand, your wrist, is pointing towards the long end of your mat. And begin to take your hips back towards your heels. And this is a pretty intense stretch, so stop wherever you feel the sensation. It's okay if those palms peel up off of the mat. And really just breathe down. Feel your wrists, giving a sigh of relief. These are really good stretches also to help prevent carpal tunnel syndrome. If you do a lot of typing, these are good stretches to relax your wrists and relax all that repetitive movement. Slowly and gently come back up. And then go ahead and take one wrist and bring the back of your palm to the mat. Point your fingers of the other hand straight towards the short end of your mat. And let's do the same thing, sitting back on our heels. And if this is too uncomfortable, you can do these same stretches sitting up. You can take a hand and go like this, then take a hand and go like that. And that will do the same thing without putting all that pressure on your wrist. Go ahead and release that hand. Take the second hand, bring the back of the palm to the mat, and slowly begin to sit back, trying to keep your arm as straight as is possible for you, not locking out the elbow. Let's breathe into that wrist. Send it a little love. It works really hard for you. Let that go. And back up briefly into a tabletop position. Make sure you have your bolster or a couple of blocks close to the top of your mat. Grab a block as you come to lay down. And the block is totally optional. And go ahead and take your left arm, stretch it out. And you're going to Bend your right elbow and then bend your right leg and begin to come on up and over. Take your hips up and grab that block and put it under your head for a more restorative version of this pose, or you can have your head down on your mat. This is a great shoulder stretch. And again, we're getting into those lymph nodes underneath your armpits. This is a great thing to do for your arms. And if it bothers you to have your knee pointing up to the ceiling, you can let it fall down towards the floor. Also opening across your chest, your heart a little bit. And then go ahead and bring that right leg back over the left, slowly coming down onto your stomach. And we're coming to the second side. I don't have enough room to completely stretch out that right arm, and that's okay. Bending into the left arm. Block under your head if you did that on the first side. And then bending your left leg so that your foot is pointing towards the ceiling, and begin to bring your hips up, and that left leg comes over the right. In yoga, we take our first minute to try and find the most comfortable version of our pose. And once we've found that, one that creates some amount of tension but no pain, then we are still. Because we hold these poses generally for anywhere from a couple of minutes to 5, maybe longer. Slowly begin to take that left leg back over the right, coming down onto your stomach. You can feel free here to grab that bolster. We'll start off without it, but then we will pull it in. And we're going to start in Sphinx pose. You take your elbows underneath your shoulders. Hands are pointing towards the short end of your mat. Shoulders are relaxed. Pressing a little bit into those arms, but not really engaging our muscles. You'll feel a little tension there. Relax your legs, relax your glutes. In yin yoga, we are not contracting muscles. We're trying to have them as soft and as relaxed as possible because we're not trying to strengthen the muscles. We're trying to strengthen the connective tissue that encircles our muscles, our bones, everything in our body. It actually gives us our form. And now if you'd like to play a little, go ahead and take a couple blocks or your bolster and bring your forearms up onto the bolster. And notice where you feel this in your body now. And relaxing those shoulders, relaxing those glutes. And thinking about following your heart and what that means to you. You can also grab those blocks and have your forearms on the blocks. It's another option. And you can remain in the first variation I offered. And if ever in any pose you feel tingling, and especially if you feel numbness, please come out of the pose immediately. You could be compressing nerves, and just back off or even perhaps take a rest in child's pose. And slowly, if you're up on the bolster, take your arms off of that. If your arms are on blocks, take them off. Don't push your bolster too far away. We will need it for their arm in our practice, but for now, bend your elbows out to either side of your mat. Take one hand on top of the other, and then just take your forehand on top of your hands, coming down into crocodile pose. And in crocodile pose, I want you to think about listening to your heart. Sometimes we really struggle with, do we listen to our mind or do we listen to our heart? And generally the heart knows. So now that you've followed your heart, it's time to actually listen to it. Begin to slowly lift your head off of your hands, back onto your elbows, and then pushing yourself back into A short rest in child's pose, just letting any compression in that back loosen up. A few breaths here. Go ahead and press into your hands, walk them back towards your body. Take your legs out to the side. Bring them straight out in front of you. Grab a bolster or a pillow if you have one. And bring it horizontally across your mat. So it is resting right behind your hips. And slowly begin to come down. If it's comfortable for you, you can reach your hands overhead. It's a variation of supported fish pose. And we are opening our heart here. Very deeply open your heart. And of course the other variation is to take your arms out to your side. Perhaps you want to, this opening of your neck might be a little bit too much for you. You can take a block and put it underneath your head, which I very well might do. Okay, that is better. If your neck feels good with your hands to your side or over your head, or once again we're working on our immune system by stretching out our armpits, go for it. It can be a very intense stretch across your neck and your throat, which is good. It stimulates your thyroid and it helps to really open up your voice, let some air get in there, but it may not be right for everybody. You're also welcome to have the bolster pointing parallel to the long end of your mat so that it's behind your hips and you're laying down along the length of your bolster if that feels more comfortable to you. And if you have your arms reaching over your head, if you'd like, you can bring them back. Taking one palm on top of the other on your heart. And thinking about following your heart, listening to your heart, and opening through your heart. If your arms are stretched above your head, go ahead and bring them back by your body. And take the soles of your feet to your mat, knees point out towards the ceiling of the sky, and then just slowly begin to turn to one side, briefly propping yourself up. You put a block underneath your head, remove that now. Turn your bolster so that it is parallel to the long end of your mat. Take the soles of your feet together and begin to lay back down along the bolster. And you can always grab a couple blocks and put it underneath your knees for a more restorative pose. And you can also do this without a bolster completely and just laying on your mat. So we have become clear on who we truly are. We have followed our heart, we have listened to our heart, and we have opened our heart. In this pose, butterfly, which is the very symbol of transformation, I'd like you to think about what is your heart's desire. Today, of course, is the solstice. And it is the longest day of the year. We are moving into summer, into the fire season. It is a very active time of year. It's a very young type of season. And so yin yoga is a really good balance to all the young energy, the activity we have in the summer season. And slowly, wherever you are, reach down with your hands, put them underneath your thighs. Slowly begin to help your knees come back together. And begin to slowly turn yourself over towards the side. Taking that bolster, bringing it down towards the end of your mat. Sliding it under your knees. You can take a couple of blocks under your knees as well, and you can also just have them stretched out on your mat. And then coming down to your elbows and bringing your arms out to the side, or you can have them up above your head, which in yin yoga is known as pentacle. And that is a good position for our Shavasana as we are increasing our immunity, getting that lymph system moving, and opening our heart as well. Close your eyes if that's comfortable for you. And just let yourself go. Maybe think about your heart's desire again in Shavasana. But just let this practice do its magic on you. I will cue you when it is time to come out. Take these last few moments in this practice to completely let go, completely let yourself relax. Give yourself gratitude for taking this time for yourself on this day. Keeping your eyes closed, let your breath just begin to deepen naturally. And before you come out of Shavasana, I'd like you to do a brief body scan. Just notice any differences you feel in your body from the time that we began this practice until now. I know I feel much more open. I feel much more space in my body. And you may or may not, and that is fine. We are all different, and we all feel things differently. And just starting at your feet, moving up your legs, your ankles, your knees, your hips, and your back, your chest, your arms, your hands, wrists, elbows, shoulders, and face. Now begin to just wiggle your toes and your fingers. Begin to circle your wrists and your ankles one direction, and then in the opposite direction. And then down a big inhale, stretch your arms up overhead if they're not there already. Wiggle around, move whatever needs to be moved. Maybe move your head from side to side. And bring one knee into your chest, then the other, still keeping your eyes closed. Wrap your arms around your knees. Bring them in towards your chest, and then bring your head towards your knees, curling up in a little ball. And slowly begin to fall over, gently fall over to whichever side feels best to you. Cradling your head in your arm that is on the mat. Other arm comes to the floor, elbow bent. So you're in a sort of fetal position, and take a few breaths here. Eyes are still closed. And slowly begin to push yourself upright, keeping the eyes closed. Lengthen through the back of your neck. Maybe take the head back a little bit in space. And let's just take 3 cleansing breaths. Inhaling through the nose, exhaling through the mouth. So inhale, exhale. Second breath. Inhale, exhale. Last time. Inhale, peace. Exhale, let all the tension run out. Take the palms of your hands together in front of your heart, slightly bowing your head over your hands, blinking your eyes open, taking in your mat, your floor, and slowly raising your head. Thank you so much for joining me on this summer solstice practice. I hope that you found your heart's desire. Return to this anytime you want to go deeply into your heart, physically deeply open through your chest, through your wrists, through your arms and your shoulders. And have a wonderful, wonderful day. If you like this video, please click the like button. And go ahead and click the bell button to subscribe and find out when new videos are added to this channel. Have a wonderful summer.